Have you ever paused, really paused, to observe the world just beyond your window? Maybe a flicker of color in the trees, perhaps. Or a sound, a chirping from somewhere you can't quite see. Or even just a shadow, flying overhead. For a lot of us, I think birds are just there, part of the background. Beautiful, sure, but maybe we don't always notice them deeply. But what if there's this whole vibrant universe waiting? Just by shifting how you look, by truly tuning in. Today, we're doing a deep dive that we hope will kind of transform how you see birds, taking it from just noticing to really experiencing them.
Exactly. And our guide for this is, well, it's not your typical field guide at all. It's The Art and Science of Birdwatching by Noah Strycker. And Strycker, he's not just listing birds. This book, which also have that amazing National Geographic visual quality, is described as a primer on the art, science, and joy of birdwatching, which is a great way to put it. He's a globally respected ornithologist and adventurer. So he brings more than just facts. It's a whole philosophy, really, a way to engage. So our mission here is to pull out those unique insights, to help you see birds with new eyes, as the book suggests, and to show how anyone, really, whether you're in a city or out in the wild, can get into this. It's incredibly fulfilling.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because I think many people assume bird watching means, expensive trips straight away, or fancy cameras, specialized gear. But for someone totally new, or maybe just wanting to connect a bit more deeply, what's the very first step, according to Stryker? Does he just throw you into identification charts, or is it something more fundamental?
A mindset shift. Yeah, it's definitely the mindset first. What Stryker emphasizes right from the start is a kind of radical simplicity. He basically says the real first step. It has nothing to do with gear or finding some remote jungle. It's about cultivating a specific mindset. He urges readers, quite simply, to slow down, observe, and listen. And he frames this not just as, oh, a nice hobby, but as a powerful practice for reconnecting with nature and mindfulness.
Mindfulness, interesting.
Exactly. The core idea is that birdwatching is less about hunting for birds, taking them off a list, and much more about just being present with nature, allowing the birds to reveal themselves to you. He really drives home this message that anyone can start, no fancy gear or remote locations required. So the most crucial tool, initially, it's just your attention, your willingness to be there and notice.
That's a really powerful reframing, isn't it? It's just the art part starts inside you, with being present, not with an external checklist or anything. So it's about tuning your own senses first before you worry about anything else, that kind of sensory awakening.
Precisely. You've got to tune the instrument first, so to speak.
Right. Okay, so once we've cultivated that mindful presence, that ability to just observe, for those who do want to maybe enhance things a bit, go beyond just using their eyes and ears directly, what practical tools does Stryker suggest then? Are there specific things he recommends? And how do you choose wisely?
Yeah, he definitely moves from the mindset to the practical tools, but always linking them back to enhancing that core experience. He covers the essentials, of course, things like binoculars and scopes, which most people probably expect. But he also fully embraces modern aids like apps and field guides, both digital and physical. And his advice on choosing gear is really practical. It's nuanced. He doesn't just say get binoculars. He advises choosing gear based on budget and environment.
Okay. So it depends on where you'll be birding.
Exactly. He might explain, for instance, that maybe a lighter, compact pair of 8X binoculars is perfect for walks in a dense forest. Easy to carry, wide enough view. But if you're looking at shorebirds across a wide open marsh, you might want more power, like a 10X or 12X pair, or even a spotting scope on a tripod. He helps you understand the trade-offs you see. Stability, field of view, brightness, weight. And what's quite forward-thinking, I think, is how he includes birding apps and digital tools for identification and logging sightings.
Right, the tech side.
Yeah, he doesn't see them as like a distraction necessarily. He sees them as powerful extensions of our senses. Your smartphone can become this really sophisticated field assistant, helping with ID, even identifying bird sounds sometimes. It's amazing, really.
So the tools are aids, extensions of your observation skills, not replacements for them. They're about getting you closer to the experience, deepening it, rather than just being about having the shiniest new gadget.
That's it, exactly. They serve the observation, not the other way around.
Okay, this flows nicely into the next big question then. Where do you go and when? We might picture, I don't know, vast nature reserves or deep woods, but Stryker seems to suggest opportunities are, well, everywhere. How does he guide us to find these maybe hidden birding spots and understand bird behavior across different places and times of year?
Oh, absolutely. He really works to challenge that idea that you need to go somewhere special. He expands way beyond just remote wilderness. He explores the amazing diversity you can find in, say, urban parks, wetlands, forests, and coastlines, even your own backyard. He might illustrate how just a small patch of native bushes in a city park can be a vital stopover for migrating warblers. Suddenly that ordinary green space is alive with activity, you know? He gets you thinking about microhabitats, how tiny variations in plants or water can completely change which birds you find there.
Microhabitats, I like that, seeing the small details.
Yes. And it's not just where, it's very much about when. He gives really helpful seasonal tips for migration, nesting, and feeding behaviors.
Oh.
So you learned about that incredible burst of energy during spring migration, or the subtle ways birds court each other during nesting season, or how they find food in the dead of winter. He even broadens the view with global perspectives, shares stories about how birding differs across continents, contrasting maybe the sheer number of species in a Costa Rican rainforest with the more subtle but just as fascinating winter birds on a northern tundra. It's all about understanding that dynamic dance between birds and their environment, wherever you happen to be.
That's really insightful. It basically turns any environment, even one you see every day, into a potential stage for natural drama.
Yeah.
You just need the understanding of what to look for and when. It's like learning to read the landscape differently, not just glancing at it.
Precisely. Reading the signs.
Okay, now for what many people find the trickiest part, identification. You see a bird, you hear a call. How do you move from just, oh, a bird, to knowing, aha, that's a specific species? What techniques does Strycker share for cracking that code? Is it just about matching pictures in a book?
No, it's much more engaging than just picture matching, thankfully. This is where Strycker really makes identification feel like detective work, which is fun. He breaks it down into using multiple senses. Of course, there are the visual cues, plumage, size, flight patterns. That's usually where we start. But he also emphasizes looking at what birders sometimes call GIS, G-I-S-S. It's like the bird's overall impression, its shape, its general vibe, how it behaves. Sort of. It's more than just color patches. It's about posture, how it moves, the way it flies. Is it direct or does it undulate, like a woodpecker? Does it constantly bob its tail like a spotted sandpiper? These subtle behavioral clues are often key, but easily missed if you're just focused on feather patterns. And then there's sound. He spends a good amount of time on auditory cues, guiding you on how to distinguish songs, calls, and rhythm. How to maybe break down complex songs into patterns you can remember, almost like learning musical phrases.
Okay, so looking and listening, holistically.
Exactly. And to make it all stick, his book includes these really helpful little sidebars. Things like fun facts, ID tips, and activities labeled "Try This." They push you to actively engage, to try things out yourself, rather than just passively reading. It makes the whole learning process feel more like solving interesting puzzles, less like a school test.
So he's teaching us to be more like nature detectives, really. Using all the clues, not just seeing, but interpreting what nature is showing and telling us. That definitely makes identification feel less intimidating, more like a rewarding challenge.
That's the goal, I think, to make it an enjoyable pursuit.
Now, what about bringing the birds to us, instead of always going out to find them? Does Strycker offer practical ways to make our own spaces, gardens, balconies, whatever we have, more attractive to birds?
Oh, absolutely. And this is a fantastic way for anyone to connect more deeply right from home. He provides really practical, actionable tips for creating bird-friendly gardens and balconies, which is great even if you only have a small space in the city. He goes beyond just, hang up a feeder. He explains why certain things matter, like using native plants. Native plants are often far better than non-native ornamentals because they provide the right kind of food, seeds, berries, but also the insects that birds rely on, especially for feeding young.
The insects are key too.
Crucial. And nesting materials as well. He also gives specific advice on choosing feeders, water sources, and nesting boxes. What types of seed attract which birds? Why a clean bird bath providing water is so important, especially in dry or freezing weather. Even the right size and placement for nest boxes to attract specific birds like bluebirds or wrens. But crucially, he doesn't stop there. He includes a really important section on ethical birding practices.
Those ethics in your own garden.
Yes, because even there, our actions matter. He frames it positively, though. Not just rules, but about fostering a healthy relationship. Things like minimizing disturbance near nests, even if it's in your hedge. Keeping feeders clean to stop diseases spreading. Just being aware that our presence, even offering food, can affect their natural behavior. It's about being a responsible, beneficial neighbor to the wildlife around us.
That's powerful. It really connects our own small actions in our own space directly to the well-being of local birds and the ecosystem. It turns your backyard or balcony into a potential mini conservation zone, which highlights the impact we can have, but also the responsibility that comes with inviting them in.
Well said. It's about being a good host.
So finally, thinking bigger picture. What does all this bird watching mean beyond our own enjoyment or our own garden? Is it just a personal, maybe solitary thing? Or does Stryker see a way for it to connect us to a wider community, maybe even contribute to something larger, like science?
This is a really inspiring part of the book, actually. He strongly encourages people not to keep it solitary, unless they want to, of course. He shows how that shared passion can build community and lead to real collective impact. He outlines different ways to connect participating in local bird counts, like the Christmas bird count, joining local clubs, engaging in active online forums to share sightings or ask questions. But what's particularly significant, I think, is his focus on citizen science projects. Things like eBird or initiatives run by Audubon.
Citizen science? How does that work with birding?
It's incredible.
Yeah.
He explains how these platforms let any birder, you, me, anyone, contribute to huge global data sets just by logging what birds they see, where, and when, often through a simple app. So your observation of, say, a common robin in your yard, when combined with thousands, millions of other observations from people all over the world, it helps scientists track bird populations in near real time, understand migration routes with amazing accuracy, even monitor the effects of things like climate change or habitat loss. It essentially turns every birder into a potential fascinating researcher, an active contributor to conservation science. It's quite profound.
Wow.
And he reinforces this sense of connection by sharing stories of birders from around the world, showing how this passion really does cross borders and cultures.
That really is an aha moment, isn't it? It elevates it beyond just personal satisfaction. Your own observations, however seemingly small, actually feed into this massive global scientific effort and connect you to this passionate worldwide community. It's a wonderful mix of personal joy and collective purpose.
It really is. Very powerful combination.
Well, we've certainly journeyed today through the art, science, and joy of birdwatching, using Noah Stryker's work as our map. From simply cultivating mindful presence right where you are to engaging with a global community, maybe even contributing to science, it's clear this can be so much more than just a pastime.
Absolutely, and that's the real magic of Stryker's book, The Art and Science of Birdwatching. He weaves together that scientific insight with emotional storytelling so well. It makes ornithology feel less like a dry subject and more like a, well, he calls it cinematic adventure. Every feather, every flight pattern, every song becomes a scene worth noticing, worth understanding. His work really reinforces that birdwatching offers both that deep, personal connection to nature's pulse and also a real way to contribute to understanding our planet. So maybe the challenge for you, listening now, is to consider that hidden world, that vibrancy and complexity that's likely playing out right near you, often unseen. What subtle shift in a bird's song? What nuance in his flight pattern might you notice today? Simply by perhaps slowing down just a bit and observing with new eyes and an open mind.